What's up, beautiful people? Today we're diving into a literary masterpiece that not only shaped African American literature, but also influenced the way we think about race, identity, and the power in America. I'm talking about The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Now, don't confuse this with H.G. Wells' sci-fi novel. This is something entirely different. This is a story about visibility and invisibility, and about how it makes you feel to exist in a society that refuses to see you. Let's get into it. Ralph Ellison was born in 1914 in Oklahoma City, a place he described as where the South met the West. His father named him after Ralph Waldo Emerson, hoping he'd grow up to be a poet. Instead, Ellison became one of the most profound voices in American literature. He studied music at the Tuskegee Institute, and that training in rhythm, improvisation, and harmony shines through in all of his writing. Like jazz, Ellison's prose flows. It's complex, improvisational, and deeply soulful. In interviews, Ellison often spoke about the power of art. He once said the act of writing requires a constant plunging back into the shadow of the past where time hovers ghost-like. And that's exactly what The Invisible Man does. It plunges us into the shadows of America's racial history, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths. The novel follows an unnamed black narrator, a young man searching for identity in a society that marginalizes and dehumanizes him. From the Deep South to the streets of Harlem, his journey is filled with triumphs, betrayals, and revelations. One of the most haunting moments comes early in the book, during the infamous Battle Royale scene. Let me read you a passage. Blindfolded, I could no longer control my emotions. I had no dignity. I stumbled about like a baby or a drunken man. Everybody fought hysterically. It was complete anarchy. This scene is a brutal metaphor for the exploitation and dehumanization black men faced and continue to face. It's raw and unsettling, and it stays with you long after you put the book down. But this isn't just a story about oppression. It's also a story about resilience and self-discovery. In one of the book's most poignant moments, the narrator declares, "I am invisible, understand, simply because people refuse to see me." This line is Ellison's way of reminding us that invisibility isn't just a condition. It's a choice made by those in power. It's about how society decides to see stories, and whose stories are worth telling, and whose lives are worth valuing. Ellison's own life mirrors some of what these themes are. He once said, "When I discover who I am, I'll be free." His journey from Oklahoma to literary fame wasn't just about personal success. It was about giving a voice to the voiceless, and he succeeded. The Invisible Man won the National Book Award in 1953, making Ellison the first African American writer to receive that honor. Check one. Before we wrap this up, let's circle back to that Battle Royale scene, because it's one of the most critical and symbolic moments in the entire book. If you've read it or even heard about it, you know it's not an easy scene to deal with. It's not something simple to digest. It's violent, humiliating, and deeply metaphorical. And here's the thing, it sets the stage for everything that follows in The Invisible Man. So let's break it down. In the beginning of the scene, the young narrator is invited to give a speech to a group of powerful white men, in honor, or so he believes. But before he can speak, he's forced to participate in a grotesque battle royale, a boxing match where black men are blindfolded and made to fight each other for the amusement of the crowd. This moment isn't just physical, it's psychological warfare. The blindfold signalizes ignorance and manipulation. The young men are turned against one another, fighting for scraps, while the real oppressors look on laughing. And it's not just about the moment. It's about the ways in which society pits marginalized groups against one another to maintain power and steal do today. But here's what makes the scene so important. It foreshadows the narrator's journey throughout the rest of the book. Think about it. After the battle, he finally delivers his speech about progress and humility, only to be mocked and handed a briefcase containing a fake scholarship. That briefcase stays with him throughout the novel, becoming a signal for the false promises and burdens placed on him by a society that refuses to truly see him. This scene also mirrors the power dynamics in later chapters. Take his time at college, for example, where he idolizes Dr. Bledsoe, only to discover that Bledsoe is just another tool of the system, willing to sacrifice others to maintain his own position. Or think about his work with the Brotherhood. The narrator believes he's fighting for justice and equality, only to realize that he's being used as a pawn for someone else's agenda. What's so tragic and so brilliant about the novel is how the narrator keeps replaying the dynamics of the battle royale in different scenes, whether it's at the college in Harlem or even in his relationships. He's constantly being manipulated, pitted against others, and forced to question his identity. And yet through it all, he begins to see the truth. By the end of the book, when he retreats underground, he rejects the role society has imposed on him. He may be invisible to the world, but he finally sees himself, and that is powerful. So why does the battle royale scene matter so much? Because it's a microcosm of the entire novel. It's about exploitation, division, and the struggle to reclaim your humanity in a dehumanizing world. And the more you think about it, the more you realize how much it resonates. Not just Ellison's time, but today. The next time you read The Invisible Man, pay close attention to how the themes of that opening scene ripple through the entire book. It's not just a story, it's a mirror. And what you see in that mirror might just change the way you see the crowd. All right, family, that's it for today. If this breakdown sparks something in you, go back and read the scene again. Or better yet, read the whole book. I promise you'll see something every time you read. And remember, our stories matter. They're not just history. They're lessons for the present and future. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep shining. All right, so this is my afterword. I don't have anybody who watches the videos yet, so I really can't just ask viewers and subscribers what they think on what the format should be. But I really like this afterwards section because I don't see this on many other creators' book reviews. So I just to give you a background for me, I'm 37 years old. I've been an avid reader since I was in elementary school. Most of the African American literature that I have read was during that time in elementary and middle school. This was one of those books that got slipped in or slipped through the cracks and was in the library at Amelia Earhart Middle School in Detroit. And I remember picking it up thinking that it was going to be a sci-fi novel. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned that early on. I wasn't prepared at the time for what I read. But the strangest thing about having read this book at a very early age was that when I was faced with a few of the themes from the book in real life, I was able to reach back and see how everything connected. This is a book that when you read it, whether a man or woman, black or white, I honestly believe no matter who you are, you're going to see portions of yourself within it. it's not just about being seen, and it is sometimes very satirical, and in that satirical format you understand more of the influences that others face that create your invisibility, which is very strange. It's not a book about being a victim, and it's not praising victimhood. This book is, I would honestly say, this is a showcase for just how powerful visibility is. I really want you to read it. I want everybody to read this book. This is something that's incredible, and it's something that it seems like is repeatedly being mentioned in the zeitgeist in American culture, but no one really has a grasp on their role that they play in other people's visibility. So, all right, peace. Until next time.